This is a very basic introduction to legal citations, designed to allow students who may have never read a court opinion to be able to comprehend the first legal reading in this course. In this screencast, we're not going to try to cover all the nuances of legal citation and legal research, which is governed by its own rules and follows a citation guide that really only the legal profession uses. Importantly, in this course, you will never need to learn to use the Blue Book. We just need to understand the basics so we can use court opinions as primary sources. I'm going to use a 2012 U.S. Supreme Court opinion as the example, but the lessons will apply regardless of the first legal document you encounter. In opening a Supreme Court opinion, the first thing you'll notice will be the syllabus section. This provides a concise statement of the key legal conclusions of the opinion. It's extremely helpful, but it's unofficial. It's prepared by court professionals, but it's not the work of the justices, so it's not precedent, and legal professionals would never cite to it. Nevertheless, it can be extremely helpful to review before delving into the opinion itself. Some number of pages on is where you'll find the opinion, which will be clearly identified as the work of the justices. What I really want to clarify for you today, though, is the use of citations in judicial opinions. Students are sometimes thrown off by these because they simply appear in the middle of the paragraph in what are known as sentence citations. Here we have two examples, a citation to a law and a citation to a U.S. Supreme Court decision. Any legal citation is going to have a set of letters surrounded by numbers. The letters will be an abbreviation for the source publication, the book where you can find the thing that's being cited to. The numbers on either side indicate the volume and the page number where it can be found within that publication. So here the first number is the volume, or in this case, the title, which at least in terms of finding a document is very similar, followed by the abbreviation for the place where you can find it, in this case the United States Code. And finally, the page number, or in the case of codes, the section number, again very similar because you would flip through the volume until you got to the right page or the right section number. As this indicates, we're sort of talking about an old-fashioned version of finding things when people would go through the stacks in a library until they found the right set of books, then pull down the corresponding volume number, and finally turn to the right page. We started here with the US Code, but the same process would apply if you were looking up the case down below here, in this case in the United States reports. So as strange as these things appear, it's really very straightforward. The sites tell you the place where you can find the document, surrounded on either side by the volume number and page number. That's really all you need to know. The volume number in the book where you'll be able to find it, and the page number it starts on. The extra number at the end of this example here, by the way, indicates that they want to point you to a specific page within the decision. So the case begins on page 656, but the language that was just quoted appears on page 660. You'll also sometimes see parenthetical information with the year of decision or the name of the court that issued the decision. So with that understanding, the only thing that can be a little tough to grasp are the abbreviations. We've already talked about two of them, USC for United States Code and US for United States Reports. You'll also see abbreviations for collections of the federal courts, one for the appellate courts and another for the US federal district courts. The 2D and 3D that you'll sometimes see stand for second and third series. When volume 999 fills up, instead of going to volume 1000, they start a new series. And there are separate books for collecting decisions by state courts, either state-specific collections or collections by geographic region. The abbreviations for the regional reporters can take some getting used to, but they're usually fairly intuitive if you think about it for a moment. The one exception to this might be the Northwest Reporter, which covers the Great Lakes region. That's because when they first started publishing these books, that was the Northwest section of the United States. So those are really the basics and all you need for the first reading. So let me close by saying that you may be wondering why we still talk about these books in the internet age. And in this course we will be using online databases for the most part. The best reason that we still use these is that official reporters provide a common set of page references. Major legal research databases will note when a case is printed in another source, and they'll provide the page number right in the text where the page break would be if you were reading it in that other source. So for example here, Lexis is telling us that this case is also printed in volume 132 of the Supreme Court Reporter, beginning on page 2537, and we see on the screen where page 2542 would begin if you were reading this case in that book. The case is also reported in Volume 183 of the Lawyer's Edition Second Series, beginning on page 574, and a little further down we see where page 585 would begin if you're reading it in that book. So this means that no matter what book was used by the author, as a reader and researcher, you will be able to go to Lexis and find the precise page that they're talking about. And when you write, you'll be able to provide cites that will work for your reader, even if they don't have Lexis. There's of course a lot more to know, but this should be plenty to get you started. When we meet in class next time, we'll talk about the substance of the opinion and the type of reasoning that the court employed. Talk to you then.